Hello Reds, it's another Talking Reds and another Talking Reds done like this over Skype. We are still self-isolating and social distancing and taking all the advice, unlike other media organisations, but we'll leave that one. Gareth Roberts, Andy Heaton with me. And Andy, we're still trying to talk about Liverpool, aren't we, as much as we can, but everything's sort of fairly dependent on everything else going on in the world. We've seen, haven't we, obviously, that Liverpool have said Melwood shut for 2 weeks, that the players are at home doing their individual programmes and they'll go from there. If you do some really obvious maths there, or you just glance at the calendar, basically, it tells you that game against Manchester City at the start of April is very unlikely to happen, just in terms of them being fit and ready and stadiums ready and all the rest of it. We always knew really that was going to be a placeholder. Lots of things have moved forward since we last did one of these. So the Euros have been cancelled. There's been talk of dates for the Champions League final at the end of June. And in general, a little space has been created now where seemingly a league campaign can still take place and be seen out. And I think the good thing for us, Andy, as Reds, away from everything else, is that it seemed initially, the Karen Brady type stuff, it was like, well, just jib the league. But there seems very little appetite for that, does there? Across the leagues, Premier League and all the way down, it seems most people are now have adopted some sense and said, listen, we need to get this done in any way we can.
Yeah, day 3 in the big Corona house. Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. The Karen Brady thing, anyone with half a brain who'd think about it for more than 5 minutes would see it's totally unfeasible. Even from a financial point of view, what she's basically saying, for the sake of keeping you're guaranteeing West Ham don't get relegated, sod everyone else. Yeah. We actually did do a show, if you're not a Talk Play subscriber, I done a quick show with Tarek Panja that came out yesterday. More a bit of a forensic chat about what's going on and the effects. So if you haven't, have a little listen to that. But it seems like there's an appetite to get things done. I know Tebas, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, who's head of the Spanish head of La Liga, is saying that the season will finish. Didn't specify when. The placeholder thing's interesting because I think there's as much chance of it coming back after 2 weeks as there is if Karen Brady gets away, to be quite honest. But it's just giving people the people who actually know what they're doing time to think, time to figure it out and plan the best way forward. To be honest, I'm quite surprised by all this, because I thought Liverpool football is so self-interested. You've got UEFA who don't get on with FIFA. You've got the Premier League who've got a vested interest in their product. UEFA, we know, can be very, very stubborn sometimes. So maybe if there's a silver lining in all this, and I said this previously, that maybe we can have a little bit of a reset. So like Ceferin doesn't get on with Infantino, and people will throw blocks in when they don't need to, just to be a pain in the backside. Maybe finally we can come together and get a couple of things that have been needing sorted for years, sorted, because we've got a chance to do so.
Yeah. Well, let's hope so. You kind of hope common sense prevails on it, but equally it's sort of dependent on the wider situation. And we're not going to have a big political chat, but can't really sort of let the chat pass by without saying, I don't feel like I'm led. I don't feel like I know what the advice is. I don't understand why there aren't adverts on the telly telling us exactly what we should and shouldn't be doing every day. But there you go. Pubs are open, but people are told not to go to pubs. While this thing continues to spread and continues to put huge pressure on the NHS, we are unlikely to see any football, you would have thought. One way you would think maybe is that they test everyone involved and get the minimum amount of people in a stadium and play it behind closed doors maybe and stream it and all that. There was stuff like that mentioned in a Times piece, what seems like absolute ages ago, but it hasn't yet come back to light, but we shall see. One thing, I mentioned this when we were doing this the other day, which is quite amusing, is that no matter that all this is going on and everyone's worried about themselves and the families and everything else, transfer gossip just carries on. Do you know what I mean? It's wild, isn't it?
It's not self-isolating. Do you know what I mean?
Transfer gossip is definitely not self-isolating. One of the latest ones to come up. It is billed, and so we do know that they talk shite. But they are saying that Naby Keita has been linked with a move back to Leipzig. But not too much stacks up about that one, does it, Andy, considering, we had to wait a season to get him. We paid a lot of money to him, for him. The idea that he suddenly goes back there again, I'm not sure about that one.
Well, no, I mean, so you look at Leipzig's model as well. They sign players 24 and under. Keita, I know he's only 25, but he's outside that model. He's on money which is way outside their wage budget. I mean, the transfer fee alone, even though Liverpool would probably take a bit of a loss on him, they couldn't afford that. And if you want to have it, it's frustrating moment now because I don't think anyone doubts his ability.
Yeah.
I think it's the case that he's never managed to get going, whether it's through a niggling injury or, just managing to get himself into form. There always just seems to be something, but he's young enough to still be of benefit to Liverpool. I don't get it. I think it's just people being bored at the minute, especially when you consider the publications and that. I mean, what else are you gonna write? I mean, I think we're gonna say the longer this rumbles on, I think you're gonna see more and more just random transfer rumours because there's spaces to fill.
Yeah, I mean, people like to think. I think that maybe all of these do come from somewhere. And look, there are publications and there are websites and there are newspapers that do insist on things coming from 2 or 3 sources before they actually publish it. There are other ones, though, that will literally sit there and go, okay, Naby Keita hasn't played that much for Liverpool. Fans are a little bit worried about him. Hasn't really justified his fee. Where did he come from? That'll do. That'll do as a rumour. Let's just put that out there. And it's as simple as that. And people do that. And there's no law stopping them from doing that. So, you do need to take these.
We're talking about it. So,
Exactly. We're talking about it because we're sat in our houses bored and making a video and going, all right, that'll do, because that's a little bit different to talking about the coronavirus. Another one that's been out there is that Liverpool have been linked with Bayer Leverkusen winger Leon Bailey, 22 years old. Apparently, Leverkusen would rather sell him to Liverpool than Bayern, if nothing else. And a new one for the big list of players that are seemingly always linked with Liverpool, which is a good thing, to be fair.
Well, I tell you what, the last winger we signed with Jamaican heritage didn't do too badly, did he?
Yeah, that'll do. Along those lines, will do nicely again. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, with all of these things, you just have to wait and see. Obviously, you feel like it's a little bit on hold at the moment, don't you?
Yeah, you do. I mean, the lad's got impressive stats. He has been mentioned in small dispatches, but it's never gone in. It's never been up in lights. It's never been like a Jadon Sancho or anything like that. The detailing, it's interesting in regards to they'd rather sell to Liverpool than Bayern. It kind of lends itself to that, actually, not that there's something in it, but someone's actually thought it through and it has come from somewhere, whether it's an agent or something like that. And it kind of makes sense. If you're Bayer Leverkusen and you're going to cash in, maybe it's Leverkusen advertising the fact that he's for sale and say, look, oh, by the way, if you match the bid, we'd much rather sell outside of the Bundesliga than sell to Bayern. And if you're Leverkusen, I mean, whose name can you throw in? It's like when everyone used to get linked with Real Madrid and Barcelona. We're ideal foil for that. Hey, look, there's something in it. That's Boss as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, just got to give a mention why we're doing this as well. Everything's a little bit strange and a little bit different, and we're even doing these things differently. But we are a business. Other businesses are businesses, and all businesses right now are obviously a little bit worried about where they're at and what's going on and whether they should be thinking about loans off the government or not and all the rest of it. One of the businesses that we are supporting, and I've got a bit of a partnership with this season, is Luke 1977. Listen, if you're sitting at home, you want to cheer yourself up, you're maybe thinking about buying yourself a new clobber to walk around the flat or house in, then check out Luke1977.com. You can get 15% off all full price gear with the code TAW15. If you're an Anfield app subscriber, go in the subscribers group on Facebook and you'll find the code in there to get 20% off as an Anfield app subscriber. So yeah, Luke1977.com. I was speaking to one of their lads today, and as I say, they're in the same boat as well. They're like worrying about everything, worrying about whether they should be in work or not and all the rest of it. It's a bit of a grim time and a bit of a strange time, but in general, try and support businesses that you like would be my advice. I think that's what a lot of people are trying to do at the moment. Back to the sort of the footy then. I haven't spotted this one that you stuck on the agenda, Andy. I've got to be honest, but a Carragher stay-at-home challenge involving keep-you-ups of bog rolls.
Yeah, I only caught it this morning. Apparently it's like a keep-you-up challenge, like the Ice Bucket challenge from a couple of years ago. And it's basically how many times can you do a keep you up with a bog roll?
Yeah.
I haven't, mate. No, not yet. No, as soon as I get the kids out the way, I'll have a go and I'll stick it on YouTube. No, I won't. But basically, yeah, the first take isn't the best. It drops it. It doesn't even take one touch, and let's just say it ends up under the stairs. I think a little bit. But in typical Jamie Carragher, it's typical Jay fashion. He laughs it off. He has a little bit of an F and a Jeff about it, and they carry on. But this appears to be the new thing. So, yeah, it's decent. In fact, further down the agenda, but while we're talking about Carragher, he done a piece with Cy Hughes in the Athletic today. Really, really good piece. Kind of resonates with me as it will do yourself because it references Buckley Earl, alluded to the Merton Villa teams that if you're in and around Liverpool, these are amateur football sides who were quite famous. Talk about how he got his education growing up, stuff like that. And there's a little bit of it which is great because he goes into detail about a conversation he had with Pepe Reina. I said, "Do you listen, you learn playing like amateur football or watching amateur football when you're a kid?" And apparently he said they can't remember if it was sunny or windy, but they were discussing if they win the toss whether they want to play into the wind. Let's just say it was play into the wind or have a second half. And Pepe Reina was going, "I will take a second half." And he went, "Are you mad?" Like Harry goes, "Are you mad?" He goes, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" He goes, and I'm thinking, is he fucking stupid? He said, "You play with the advantage as soon as you can because the wind can change."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then you think, or if it's sunny, that it can get cloudy all of a sudden. And you think like that amount of instant deal, like that's learned experience. That isn't something you read in a textbook. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I thought it was fascinating. It's really, really good. And then he talks about his son and how he's getting on at Wigan. Brilliant. I mean, I know we're partners with the Athletic, and but genuinely, it's a really, really, really good piece. Well worth your time. Si's done a fantastic job as ever. So yeah, get involved there. Talking about Scouse colloquialisms and little bits on the side. You mentioned Luke 1977. I had a discussion the other day about obviously because we're all isolated, whether it's house coat or dressing gown. And it turns out, I mean, we've had this one at the office before, I think, but it turns out house coat's very, very Kirby native.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have them down for that. I mean, it's always been dressing gown for me. Like house coats I've only heard recently. I'd expect that from I don't know where, but not Kirby.
Yeah.
Let's go in Kirby.
There you go. I know. But I mean, as a Kirby native, I mean, that's what started. But yeah, apparently it's very, very Kirby strong to this day. Anyway, moving on. You mentioned that I read the piece in the Echo this morning. Josh Williams, talking about good piece of work to read. I think it's just one of them where they've tried to fill a gap, but it turned out to really, really sound. About Luis Alberto, they're talking about creative midfielders and Kevin De Bruyne, and they pulled up one of these XG charts that you see. And Luis Alberto's having a cracking time at Lazio, and he's up there. And the questions asked, are we missed him? I mean, I don't know what your opinion on this is, but I think it's one of those examples where the league has suited the player more. The league suits him more than what it would have done over there, and I don't think he would have had the chances he's got over there if he was still here, knocking around.
Yeah, I think when he was here, look, he didn't take his chance. There's no two ways about it, and he looked slow as he didn't look like he was suitable for the league. I remember going to a friendly, I think it was at Preston. I took my lad actually. It was the first game he'd ever been to. Really hot day in Preston, and he played then, and he looked good. But because it was a sunny day and it was baking hot. The pace of the match was slow and given the opposition, and it was a friendly and all that. And he looked a worldie that day, but he never really did it. And he had problems off the pitch as well, didn't he, when he was at Liverpool as well? So maybe, his attitude wasn't quite right. And you're quite right to say that happens loads, doesn't it? Players find their home, they find the circumstances that suit them. And that isn't always Liverpool, that isn't always Anfield. That's why I think we're so fortunate with the group we've got now, that pretty much to a man, all of them seem to like it, seem to love it. They're settled. They're not moaning. They're not crying. They're not kicking off when they're not in the team. They're not acting the goat. They're all professional. I mean, they should be when they are where they are, 25 points clear and all the rest of it. But it's always easier said than done, isn't it? Because everyone's human and all that, like we always say. So yeah, I wouldn't sort of look at that as being like a miss or anything like that. I think the other thing you've stuck on the agenda is good there as well, because it's something we like to talk about. Obviously, we talk about the Reds, but we all sort of love footy lower down the leagues as well. And I think it's lower down the leagues and non-league right now where the big worries are. You kind of think Premier League clubs will be all right because of the revenue that they get, because of the footy, the TV money and all the rest of it. Lower down though, like I think Andy Holt today, the Accrington Stanley owners on Twitter talking about it. They really are in the shit. And the longer that, games go on or don't go on, the missed revenue is absolutely massive for them. He was talking about there as well that, even the league itself, could be in some sort of dire straits if this goes on, for any length of time. Seen Mark Palios on the telly last night as well, and obviously, Mark always speaks really well. And he was saying, we can cope for a few months, but we'd have to pull loads of things, loads of initiatives, loads of improvements. When he was standing there, he was pointing behind them saying, we need to sort this pitch out. We're more than aware of that. But, maybe even that, the sort of, I think everyone's got to sit on any money that they have got at the moment down at that level and go, shit, we just have to wait and see like everyone else.
I think with Mark Palios as well, why you need to take a bit of notice. He was one of the leading accountants in the country before he got into football. He knows exactly what he's talking about. So he can model into the future. He knows exactly what he's doing. Andy Holt can be a little bit of an abrasive character, but I like him because he's honest and straight. I don't necessarily agree with everything he's saying all the time, especially on politics and one thing and the other. But it's coming from the heart. There's no spin on it. It's what he believes in. His thread this morning is fascinating. I mean, literally, a lot of clubs will keep it behind closed doors and won't show you stuff like this, but the grim reality of the picture he painted this morning is unreal. Have a little look at it if you can, if you're interested in like the dry, boring bits. But he was saying if this short term, he was in reference to this government bailout, this 330 billion bailout or whatever it is. And he's saying, what was interesting is it's not just one sector of business, it's economy wide. He could literally break the country in for Accrington. As we say, he said, if this was maybe a short-term thing, then I've got reserves to fund it. But in all likelihood, it's going to go on and on and on. And without this government help, which is guaranteed loans, no one's getting it. I think this is another misconception. No one's getting a handout. All the governments are proposing to do is guarantee a loan. Now, that loan's got to be paid back. The only way that loan isn't paid back is if your company folds. So then it's failed anyway. Do you know what I mean? But he's saying that even at a club like Accrington Stanley, he's talking about if it's more than a couple of months, he estimates it's going to cost him in the region of £10 million. Now, that doesn't sound a lot in football money, Premier League, but for any club outside, don't kid yourself, any club outside the Premier League, even clubs in the Championship, that's a lot of money. And, I think we need an awareness of this. And if anything, it gives you the scale of the situation that we're in globally.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think one thing among all this is that, we all need to try and stay positive, though, and keep our peckers up, as it were. I'm gonna throw a few things in that I read, like Tony McDonald, who I used to work with many years ago for the mighty Merseymark newspaper, now defunct. He'd spotted something that a journalist had done where he collated a load of good news, and I just liked it because I thought, it's so easy. When you're in a flat or a house or whatever, self-isolating, watching the news.
In your house
coat, getting yourself down and thinking, well, where's all this going to end? So a few nice facts. I know we're a footy podcast and all the rest of it, but come on, we're all human. China has closed down its last coronavirus hospital. Not enough new cases to support them. Doctors in India have been successful in treating coronavirus using a combination of drugs. Researchers at the Erasmus Medical Centre claim to have found an antibody against coronavirus. A 103-year-old Chinese grandmother has made a full recovery from it. Apple has reopened all of its 42 China stores. And on. There's quite a few good stories out there. They're just getting flooded by the bad ones at the moment. So cling to the good ones. We're going to keep going at the Anfield app as well. Andy mentioned some specials that are already out there. We've got video out there as well. I interviewed someone called Ken Nelson, an absolutely lovely gold fella who worked on Coldplay albums, Gomez albums, Charlatans albums, Badly Drawn Boy, but he's a Red as well. And the idea was, get a Red in the room, talk about their profession, talk about the Reds. And as I say, absolute gent of a fella and some good feedback on that. So if you subscribe to the Anfield app, you can get stuck into all of that, and hopefully it helps to keep you going. Thanks as well, everyone, for nice messages that you've sent us as well. We've had quite a few. Keeps us going as well, because we're human as well, and we're all worried about what's going on and where our business is going and all the rest of it. So we've had nice messages on the Twitter, on the email, and everything else, just saying keep going, thanks lads, and all that. We love all that. It's been great, and we've been sharing them in our own WhatsApp groups just to keep ourselves all going. So yeah, keep on keeping on. Hopefully they sort all this out, and on a bright sunshiny day, we watch the Reds lift number 19. I've been Gareth Roberts, that's been Andy Heaton. This has been Talking Reds. Up the fucking Reds.